Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to know that people are joining us, and we still have some people in the waiting room. So we're going to start by showing a slideshow of past breakfasts, and I hope you enjoy watching that, and then we will start our full program. Good morning, and I'm Joanne Manita, Chair of the Latah County Human Rights Task Force, and I am your host for this morning's virtual breakfast. I hope you enjoyed the slideshow. So my first job is to ask you all to find the video button, which is on the upper right-hand side of your screen, and press that button and make sure it's checked to speaker rather than gallery, and that will give you a much better view of the proceedings. So this is our first virtual breakfast, obviously. Usually we're worried about running out of coffee. Now we're worried about whether I'll forget to mute myself when someone else is speaking. And by the way, I apologize if I do that. I've also asked people maybe now not to send chat messages, though it's wonderful to hear from everyone. I hope you enjoyed that slideshow, and I bet some of you saw yourself there chatting or eating or singing. In case you're wondering what that yellow bus was about, one of my favorite breakfasts was when we were able to have two of the original freedom riders come as guest speakers. And in their honor, the Moscow High School human rights students created that big yellow bus for a setting. And so that's what that was about. And also you saw slides of young people on the stage holding up plaques and smiling broadly. They were that year's winners of the Martin Luther King Art and Essay Contest. Now, we usually do announce those winners every year at the breakfast, but this year, because of the confusion starting school in the fall, the teachers asked us to hold off and do the contest in the second semester. So we will be rolling out the prompts and instructions for the Martin Luther King Art and Essay Contest next week. We hold that contest every year with a different theme to encourage all the students in Latah County to think about human rights issues and how it relates to their lives. So you'll hear more about that later. Now it's my great pleasure and honor to introduce UI President Scott Green, who will give the official welcome for our event. Dr. Green.
Can you hear me okay? Awesome. So, again, good morning, and thank you for actually inviting me back this year. I deeply appreciate the invitation to celebrate the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. With all of you. And I have to say that the slideshow actually was, it probably meant as much to you and more to you even than it possibly did to me. But just seeing our community together like that was just incredible. And I really enjoyed it. So thank you for putting that together. And thank you to the Latah County Human Rights Task Force for again hosting this 28th community breakfast honoring Dr. King's memory. Civic engagement, as we all know, is an important element of Dr. King's legacy. And holding this event digitally, it shows a commitment from us to continuing these discussions no matter what is thrown at us, including a pandemic. Education, and I know we all believe this, is a solution to many of our issues today. We must provide access. We must ensure those who desire a college education have the opportunity to obtain that education, regardless of their background or socioeconomic status. It's good for the students. It's good for our employers. It's good for the state of Idaho. It's good for all of us. College graduates earn more, live longer, happier lives, and are more likely to engage in their communities. Our role is to help students elevate themselves, to help them with access to school and help them succeed, graduate on time and into careers with as little debt as possible, all while having a positive experience at their university. Idaho industry relies on us to provide the talented and diverse workforce that they need to compete. Industry partners, they tell us that they want a diverse workforce because it leads to better decisions and organizational outcomes. And frankly, as I was running a global law firm, I saw the results of that. The more voices that are in the room, the more differentiated voices, the better. You make better decisions. And having students from different backgrounds and all walks of life promotes learning in the classroom and in our community. Diversity on our campus prepares our students to compete in a global marketplace. I'm looking forward to our speakers and to the rest of this program. So I really like to see us get started. So I'm going to stop talking at this point. So let's continue with our program. Thank you for including me in today's celebration of Dr. King and his legacy of supporting human rights. Thank you.
Thank you, President Green. And inclusion and diversity are indeed themes of Dr. Martin Luther King's legacy and of our task force. One thing that we have learned with the task force is how important it is to collaborate with other organizations with similar goals. Together we're stronger, together we vitalize each other. And at this point, I'd like to give a shout out and thank you to University of Idaho, Jesse Martinez and the Office of Multicultural Affairs for their collaboration, and also to Ken Fonce and the City of Moscow Human Rights Commission for their support of this event. We just learned recently of a new organization that's working in human rights issues. Rochelle Smith from the UI Library contacted me to ask if she could help with the breakfast, if her organization could help. And I said, well, we're doing everything virtually, but we would love to hear about your organization. So I'm going to introduce Rochelle Smith to tell us about the new organization, University of Idaho Black Faculty and Staff Association. Rochelle.
Thank you so much, Joanne. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. And thank you so much for having me to talk a little bit about our group. Yes, we are the University of Idaho Black Faculty and Staff Association. We're brand new, but we're very enthusiastic. We are the first, I believe, organization of its kind at the UI. There have been lots of get-togethers for faculty and staff of color in the past, but never an organization dedicated specifically to Black faculty, staff, and administrators at the UI. We were formed in 2020 and partly in the wake of and in response to the murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. We really felt this strong need to have a place that would be both a support network and a safe space for Black employees at the university. We really want to be that support network. We want to support Black faculty and staff and administrators in the Moscow campus, also in Boise. My co-chair is Shakira Sanders, who is law faculty down in Boise. We're really interested in being very inclusive in our membership and support. So we have African-American faculty, as well as African faculty and Caribbean faculty. I'm from the Caribbean originally myself. And also to be gender inclusive. So we really want to make sure we are a welcoming space for again, Black faculty, staff, and administrators. Hopefully we get more and more administrators over time to share their concerns and to be support to one another. That's one of our aims. We also really want to support Black students on campus. They're not part of our group, but we really want to stand in support of them and provide help whenever we possibly can. And that includes the Black Student Union, which this year we are brand new, but the Black Student Union this year is celebrating their 50th anniversary, which is amazing. And we're so proud of them. We really want to be supportive of them. We also want to position ourselves to act in coalition with other groups on campus that support people of color, whether that's the Native American Student Center, whether that is the camp program or other programs on campus that really support faculty, staff, and students of color. And we also want to foster the university's commitment to diversity, to equity, and to justice, which is really, really important. And finally, one of the things that I know is really important to a lot of our members is that we highlight and celebrate the legacy of Black involvement and achievement at the University of Idaho that goes all the way back at least to the graduation of Jenny Eva Hughes, who is the UI's first Black graduate in 1899. Sometimes that history is not very visible, which I think, we would all love to see that history be more visible and be more celebrated, which I think also informs the conversations we have about the UI, Moscow, and Idaho, and the Northwest in the present. Those are some of our aims. Like I said, we're very ambitious and we're very excited. And we are really looking forward to working with all of you more, as well as with President Green and the university admin to make this as successful as possible. So thank you so much. I don't want to take too much time.
Thank you, Rochelle. It's so exciting to hear about new energy, new people coming together, and we certainly look forward to working with you and your organization. I wanted to start the breakfast by remembering some great people who have lost this past year. two giants of human rights. And I refer, of course, to Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Congressman John Lewis. Their accomplishments and their leadership is just fantastic. It's meant so much to many people, and they have inspired us by the way they have shown us that it's persistence and dedication and nonviolence that makes headway in the move for social justice. Their teachings and their memory will be a shining light as we continue to work for social justice. And here on the Palouse in our area, we've also had some losses. I want to remember Peter Vaughn, who sadly was number 4 in the COVID fatalities of Utah County. Peter was a longtime member of our Human Rights Task Force. He was a kind, wonderful person with always willing to take on jobs and always willing to speak out and give us his opinion. You probably met him because he was selling tickets for the breakfast for many years. And another person we want to remember is Andrew Becker. Andrew was a paraplegic and due to cerebral palsy was unable to speak. So you wouldn't think of him as an activist for human rights, but he had a burning passion in him to be involved and to do good things for other people. Thanks to the help of his sister, Melissa, who worked out a code, an alphabet for him so that he could communicate by moving his knee, which was the only part of his body that he had control over. And they worked out a code book that could be translated so he could talk just by moving his knee. He used this not only to convey to people what it's like to be disabled and to have these problems, but to take action. He would write letters to the editor. He would set up meetings with local political officials and work on ways of making Moscow more mobile friendly to people with disabilities. He also served he served several years on the Moscow Human Rights Commission, one term as vice chair. And he was on a governor's advisory board, Governor Kempthorne's advisory board for how the government was doing in providing services for disabled citizens. He accomplished a lot, and he was full of joy in spite of any problems he had. So we want to remember these 4 people, 2 great people on the national scale and 2 great people on our local scale. We're going to pay a tribute to them and enjoy some music as we listen to a recording of Let Justice Roll Down with starting words from Martin Luther King.
Morally, I was led to nonviolence because I felt that it was the best moral way to deal with the problem. We were seeking to establish a just society, and it was my feeling then, and it is my feeling now, that violence is certainly much more socially destructive, and it creates many more social problems than it solves. So I was led to nonviolence for deep moral reasons. And I turned to it because I felt that it was the morally excellent way to deal with the problem of racial injustice in our country.
There is no freedom, the wise man said, let justice roll down when the poor cry out for shelter and bread. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream. Oh, children, don't you get weary, walk together, believe in the dream. When the way gets rough, we'll make a new way. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream. Hatred will never drive out hate. Let love roll down roll down. Remember, our hearts can make us great. Let love roll down like a mighty stream. Oh, children, don't you get weary. Walk together, believe in the dream. When the way gets rough, we'll make a new way. And let your love roll down like a mighty stream. When brutality threatens our daughters and sons, let peace roll down, roll down. May our voices rise up louder than the guns. Let peace roll down like a mighty stream. Oh, children, don't you get weary. Walk together, believe in the dream. When the way gets rough, we'll make a new way. And let peace roll down like a mighty stream. Step by step, one by one, let justice roll down, roll down. They can kill the prophet, but the dream lives on. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream. Oh, children, don't you get weary. Walk together, believe in the dream. When the way gets rough, we'll make a new way. Let justice roll down like a mighty stream.
I turned to it because I felt that it was the morally excellent way to deal with the problem of racial injustice in our country.
See, I thought I'd forget to mute myself, but I forgot to unmute myself. Now, an important part of our presentation of the breakfast every year is the awarding of the Rosa Parks Human Rights Achievement Award. And Fran Rodriguez will lead us in that presentation.
Hello. Hello. I'm Fran Rodriguez, Vice Chair of the Latah County Human Rights Task Force, and it is my pleasure to introduce the 2021 presentation of the Rosa Parks Human Rights Achievement Award, which, as you can see, has honored many amazing people since the breakfast started in 1994. The task force is committed to a continuing effort to promote human rights and social justice. We're not truly free until all people are guaranteed dignity, respect, justice, and equal opportunities. The Rosa Parks Award is named for one of the great activists of the civil rights movement, who, by her courage in refusing to move to a seat at the back of the segregated bus, helped start the Montgomery bus boycott, which in turn blossomed into the wider freedom movement that led to the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Each year, we present one award to a community member with a significant history of courage and commitment to social justice causes, and a junior award to a student or younger person who is well on the way to becoming an activist. The nominations are made by you, the community members, and we receive 12 to 15 nominations each year. A committee of the task force has the difficult job of selecting 2 recipients from all the very worthy candidates. It is difficult to decide, but also inspiring to read about all the wonderful accomplishments of our fellow activists and citizens. The presenters this morning are Leanne Erickson, a former recipient herself, who teaches French and biology at Moscow High School. She will present the Junior Award. City Council member Sandra Kelly will present the Senior Award.
Good morning. My name is Leanne Erickson, and I'm honored to announce the winner of the Rosa Parks Youth Award. I understand that there were many strong nominees this year, which gives me great confidence that the future of human rights is in good hands. This year's recipient is Moscow High School senior Laurel Hickey. Laurel is passionate about community engagement in human rights. As student representative to the task force, Laurel serves as the liaison to the High School Human Rights Club. She teaches students how to communicate with their elected officials and organizes Oxfam dinners. Last summer, she helped run the task force food drive, which was our most successful food drive ever. Laurel has volunteered at the MLK Awards breakfast for several years. If you've had the pleasure of attending this breakfast in person, Laurel probably poured your coffee while simultaneously lining out the other student volunteers. She helped organize and spoke at the Moscow Women's Marches. She has served as a delegate to the Model United Nations conferences in Seattle, in British Columbia, and this year on Zoom. She's passing the torch to Moscow middle school students by training them to be our future Model UN delegates. In addition to reaching out to young people, Laurel has been a tremendous help to her task force elders, serving as our social media guru. I would be remiss if I did not mention that in addition to all of these accomplishments, Laurel is one of the kindest and most humble students I have encountered in my 30 years of teaching. It gives me great pleasure to present the 2021 Rosa Parks Youth Award to Laurel Hickey.
Hi, everyone, and thank you. I'm incredibly honored, and I want to start by thanking Miss Erickson. She is as generous with her words as she's been with her time and her guidance over the past few years I've known her. She was the one that opened up so many of the opportunities I'm involved with right now that she talked about through the Human Rights and International Club and through all the work that she does for high schoolers. And so thank you very much. I also really want to thank the members of the Latah County Human Rights Task Force. Working with you has taught me so much about dedication and kindness and impact. I've been to so many Martin Luther King breakfasts since before I was in high school and since before I got involved directly. I remember always looking up to the members of the task force, listening enraptured to speakers before I got the chance to actually sit on the task force. I think my first breakfast was in 4th grade. I submitted an essay for the contest, and that was my exposure to this wonderful community. And now I'm unusually lucky, I think, to have the chance to learn from you and to be a part of all the inspiring work you're doing. So thank you. Being involved in the community in Moscow has shown me an ideal. This is what engagement looks like in connection and support. I've grown up here, and I've really tried to use my time in high school to give back to this community that's been so important to me. As I go forward in life, I will always strive to find and try to emulate this type of welcoming community that allowed me, I guess, a senior in high school, to get so involved and participate so thoroughly. And so I want to say thank you so much to everyone who have given me this chance. Thank you.
And now we're going to hear the presentation of the Senior Community Award by Sandra Kelly.
Thank you so much, Joanne, and thank you to everyone who was out here participating in our breakfast virtually. The hardest thing about this is not being able to eat the yummy breakfast, and so I'm disappointed in that, but really thankful that we're here. It's my great honor to be able to present the Human Rights Task Force Rosa Parks Award to someone who I've known for years. I got to know this person through different county politics. I was there when she and her wife adopted a dog at the Humane Society. I'll forever remember that. I have shopped at their shop, and now I'm very excited to say that my good friend, Kathy Sprague, is the Rosa Parks winner. She and her wife, Tabitha, have been pillars in the Moscow community for as long as I've been here, which is going on 14 years now. They run Safari Pearl, which has been a tremendous asset for our community. They put on Pride Days and are a true source, not just for our community, but especially to our LGBTQ community. And often this is a community that is overlooked, sometimes marginalized. And I'm so thankful to know people that are willing to stand up and put themselves out there, and Kathy has always been able to do that. They say that the key to human rights is activism, perseverance, dedication, and that is exactly what Kathy does. It's truly my honor to name her and share the Rosa Parks Award in her honor, and I'm grateful and excited to hear from her. So Kathy, congratulations. You absolutely deserve this. You're a true pillar in our Moscow community. Thank you.
Okay, there we go. All this time I thought I was so tech savvy, and apparently I am not. Thank you very much. Definitely, this is a shared award with my wife, Tabitha. When an organization or an event needs sound, they call me, and I cajole my wife into bringing the sound system out for the Women's March, for Pride for over 20 years. Definitely, Tabitha is the stronger, more tech savvy, beautiful half of our partnership. And I also want to thank my father, who has passed away. I didn't expect to get emotional either. Dad spent his career as an archaeologist trying to repatriate Native artifacts, returning remains to Spalding Park for burial. He did this in the 70s when it wasn't the most popular or even politically savvy thing to do. He taught me to do the right thing and to stay the course. Whether you're demonized for doing the right thing, whether you're lauded for it, he said, stay the course and do it. And so from that, I have learned an awful lot. And I want to thank a lot of people who have stood by me and Tabitha. There have been times when cancel culture has come after us. No one is perfect. There's now a different thinking on what we had done at the time. And history has proven that by staying the course, we were correct. But thank you so much. The task force does so much good work in the community. They've always been there to support Pride, whether it was Inland Oasis or me and Tabitha pulling the money out of our pocket and holding a drag show to rent the park. Thank you to all the task force members. And thank you, Sandra. You are one of the most wonderful and amazing people. And I'm glad you were there when we got Elise. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about what you're working on right now with the food bank, the West Side Food Bank and community center place.
Wow. So when this whole pandemic began and the shutdown started, Tabitha and I decided to open a food bank because we're 2 doors down from a hair salon and those gals were out of work. It's a close contact business. So they had to shut down the salons and just a lot of the fitness centers, tattoo parlors. So we decided to collect food. A lot of people weren't getting money yet. That grew and grew and grew and grew. And at this point, we're going to be turning it over to Inland Oasis. Inland Oasis has rented a space just 2 doors down from us in the other direction. The food bank will move there. We're hoping to get a commercial kitchen set up. We'll have a warming center next winter. It's a slow process because we're working with volunteers, but we're getting there. As soon as I'm done with this, I get to go pay the phone bill because that fell through the cracks. But Inland Oasis has created a new space and they have a physical presence again. And I'm very excited to be a part of that. And, just a whole lot of people are helping with it. And thank you for all those efforts, folks.
Thank you, Kathy. And that just shows us persistence and activism and compassion all rolled together. Congratulations, Kathy. I would like to check to see if our speaker is in the house somewhere. Talk about technical questions. Is Curtis Robinson zoomed in with us? I'm not hearing any. Oh. Yeah, we can't tell if you're here or if you're here under a different name. Curtis Robinson. Well, we will continue and with our program. I'm wondering if Treyman Gaither is in the house also, and he might join us to say a few words if Curtis is not available. Can you put out a call for Treyman Gaither? I'm not sure how all this works.
If you're here, go ahead and just put an answer in the chat since everybody's muted, either Curtis or Treyman if you're here.
What that means.
It doesn't look like it, and I don't have either one on the participants list, Joanne. So nobody with those names on their screen is signed in.
Okay, thank you. I want to say a little more in their absence about the Human Rights Task Force. We were organized back in 1989 when the neo-Nazis were marching in Coeur d'Alene on the street, down the main street. One of our first activities was to take part in a march with 1,000 other people, a peaceful march from Coeur d'Alene up to Hayden Lake. And Hayden, Idaho, where the neo-Nazis had their compound and were celebrating Hitler's birthday in April. Fortunately, this was a very peaceful march. It was our first activism. It was first act of activism. Whoa. And we've been marching ever since. We've been marching, speaking out, holding rallies, putting on events. And as you see, in 1994, we started our first breakfast. We are a grassroots organization, and we welcome new members all the time. We need more people to help in our social justice programs. If you go to our website, humanrightsleta.org, you will see how to contact us if you're interested in just attending a meeting or finding out more about us. We have activities going on almost all the time. And I thought maybe that was from Curtis, but it wasn't, all the time. And next month, as I said, we will be rolling out the prompts for the Martin Luther King Art and Essay Contest. We send that to all the principals and teachers, but we also have it on our website. So anyone who's interested in students participating, you can go to a website and send in an entry. You don't have to do it through your class. And those entries will be due in April. And we're hoping by May, we may be able to have an outdoor, safe presentation in person rather than doing it all virtually. We'll see what happens. That's one of our hopes. And also in February, we're going to be presenting Living Voices, which is an organization that through theater brings history to life. And we'd like to bring them here because we get such wonderful reception from the teachers and the students who are involved. They will be here in February doing a program called Our Revolution, which is about the role of Black Americans in the American Revolution, something that's often not taught in the schools and something we often don't even know about. If you are interested in participating and donating to help us with programs for the schools, there's also a donate button on our website. I still don't see we have our speakers, so I think, oh, hold on, a flash here. Is there anyone else on our committee who has any few words they would like to add before we sing We Shall Overcome? I want to really, before we conclude without a speaker, I can't believe this. I can't believe it. Leanne.
I just wanted to say that my students and I are meeting with Treyman after this event. So I'm not sure quite what happened here. Perhaps I didn't appropriately get him the invitation to this morning's breakfast, but my students and I are looking very, very forward to meeting with him after this event.
Yes, I was hoping he was watching and would say a few words for us, but I can't connect with him. Anyone else? Paul, I don't know how to do this so that people can just speak up.
That's Sandra.
Great. Joanne, I just wanted to take a moment. I know that I spoke when I was able to award the Rosa Parks Award, but I hope everyone out there is appreciating the effort and everything that went into this. The leaders of our task force really agonized on how to do this breakfast. And I can tell you without a doubt that when we look out and see so many people here, it's small. It may not have the same energy because we're not all together, but I hope that you're feeling the excitement and really continuing to feel the understanding of what this Human Rights Breakfast is all about. Martin Luther King Day itself is a day on, not a day off. So I hope you all will go out and do something for your community. There are many places to volunteer, and remember all of those breakfasts that we've had and the joy and the energy that those speakers have given us, and go out and just do good works. Keep being who you are and keep working so hard and making our community better. It really is gratifying to see so many of your faces here. I love going through the screen to see old friends. I love the slideshow to see throughout the years how many people have come. And remember that even in this time of COVID, when we are isolated in so many ways and we may feel alone in so many ways, there's still so much we can do to further the efforts of human rights activism and to continue to be great examples out there. So thank you for coming today, but especially a tip of the cap to Joanne and her hardworking team that put this on, because this was no small feat. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for doing all that you do, and keep doing good works. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Yolanda, are you in the groups that you can tell us about the upcoming event at the University of Idaho? They will have a speaker.
I wasn't letting me unmute. Thank you, Joanne. Yes, I just wanted to announce that the University of Idaho will be having our Martin Luther King Jr. virtual speaker, and that will be on January 21st at 5 p.m. And it's going to be Dr. Edward, and I'm not sure I'm going to get this name right, Onasi, and he's a professor of history and African American and Africana studies. And the title will be Free the Land, the New African Independence Movement and the Biographical Consequences of Social Movement Activism. And this is being sponsored through the Office of Multicultural Affairs and the partners. And I think Jesse's online, and I don't know if Jesse has anything more to add on that. But thank you for letting me announce that. And we would love to have everybody participate.
That sounds very exciting. I'll be there. Jesse, do you have anything to add? I'm thinking not. Was there anyone else that we missed who wanted to address the group?
Looks like one more. Couple more.
Tom Lamar? Just if you stop.
Thanks. Yeah, I had to get permission to unmute myself. Tom Lamar, Latah County Commissioner. I just wanted to, on behalf of Latah County, congratulate you, Joanne, and the others of the Latah County Human Rights Task Force on pulling off this event today. And also congratulations to Laurel and Leanne for Laurel and Kathy for your awards. Thank you so much for all of your work that you're doing here in Latah County. I think we are just always continuously reminded as to how important this work is. And we just need to continue to be vigilant throughout. And I'm really excited that we've got a terrific community here that's able to express ourselves so well in support of human rights. And I feel very honored and lucky to be part of this community. It's always continues to demonstrate to itself and to the nation and the region how important we are, and in carrying on this message, and in light of all of the opposition for being able to speak out for human rights. But thank you so much for all of your work, Joanne, and others from the task force.
And
we have another speaker too, Joanne.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. This is Homa Safi. I'm speaking to you from Seattle. I really, truly miss all of you, those of you who worked so hard to bring this thing up. Thank you to technology person and technology in general. I'm so excited and nostalgic as well. I miss you all, and thanks a lot from the bottom of my heart. It's so good to see everyone that I know. It's so exciting. It really is. Thanks a lot for putting this on.
Thank you, Homa. Homa was a member of the task force while she was living here in Moscow and teaching. And one of the good parts of all this virtual stuff is that we can see people who have moved away can still be a part of what we're doing here. And I also want to thank Tom Lamar for his leadership. Tom was an attendant at our breakfast for many, many years. And he's the one who got us to give up paper plates and started the plate project so that we could eat on real dishes and not waste any resources. But that's just a small thing. He leads us in many wonderful ways. We're glad to have him as a county commissioner. Was there someone else that I'm missing? I forgot to mention our PowerPoint presentation that's also on our website. This past year, we weren't able to have our usual Human Rights Day at the Farmers Market, and instead our members put together a PowerPoint about health and wellness as a human right. And those PowerPoints, the PowerPoint is on our website. It's available for teachers to use or for any group to use who want to discuss this subject. And it's already been used by one class at the Moscow Charter School to great success. So we thank all our members who worked on that. I want to thank my committee for this breakfast, Dave Ackley and Megan Baumgartner, members of the task force, who really did a lot of work in putting things together. And especially we want to thank Paul Thompson, who has been our technical and musical advisor. And he's about to lead us in song. We always end our breakfast singing "We Shall Overcome," and we stand and hold hands and join together in this important anthem. But we're not able to do that this year. I see Nick Geyer wants to jump in before we end with our song. So Nick, can you unmute Nick Geyer, please?
I can, and then Nancy also wants to speak. So Nick, Nancy Cheney, if that's okay.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
We'll do Nancy, or we'll do Nick, and then Nancy, you're on deck. So Nick, you're about to get a prompt to unmute.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? First, I'd like to speak to the tremendous work that Joanne has done to put this together and what she's done over the years. She is a force of nature for human rights. And I just want hats off to Joanne. And congratulations to Laurel. You were a very sincere participant in our meetings, and I appreciate all the work that you've done. And also Kathy and Tabitha for your outstanding work in the community. Since the murder of George Floyd, I have been concerned about a few speakers on the national stage that have tried to justify riots because the situation has become so dire. And I have spoken out. I write a biweekly column, and I have written about police reform. And most importantly, I've written about how we have to keep Gandhi and King foremost in our minds and never lose sight of the principles of nonviolence that Gandhi introduced to the world and introduced to Dr. King. So I was very concerned about those, I think, very unwise sorts of propositions, speeches, and I just want to encourage everyone to keep the principles of nonviolence and civil rights foremost in our minds. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. That is so important. And ironically, one of the reasons we chose Curtis Robinson as our speaker is that he was commended by the mayor of Spokane in his work in de-escalating and keeping the Black Lives Matter and other rallies in Spokane, keeping things peaceful. And he's working with law enforcement on doing that. So I'll see if we can get his message recorded and put on our website so we get to hear from him eventually and find out what went wrong technically. Nancy Cheney?
Thank you, Joanne, and good morning to all of our good friends. Can you hear me? You can, good. You know, these human rights breakfasts are opportunities for us to get together in person, or in this case, virtually, to be reminded of the importance of ongoing vigilance, of engagement, of connecting with community members, that these hardships and challenges and atrocities can occur even in smaller communities around our region. And I am so heartened to hear the stories that tie together, you know, Laurel Hickey's award from the 4th grade to her award today, to what we see from her in the future, or to hear Kathy Sprague talking about her dad, Rick Sprague, and his tender, respectful approach to human rights and dignity, and how this weaves through generations, it weaves across our community. And we just have to reinforce that among one another, to celebrate the good things that have happened in the past, to be aware of the challenges ahead, and to look toward a brighter future because of all the good work that the likes of Latah County Human Rights Task Force, Moscow Human Rights Commission, and all of those who are working in this realm are doing. So I'm really appreciative of everything today, and I just miss the hugs mostly. Keep up the good work, Joanne, and thank you for all of your efforts in this.
Thank you for your appreciation and your participation. Did I see someone named Robinson entered our halls? It wasn't Curtis, but the last name was Robinson. Could you check on that, please, Paul? And I see Kyle would like to say something. Can you unmute Kyle Rose?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Joanne. I just wanted to take a quick moment to say hello to everyone. I'm joining from California today. Some of you may know me, know my folks, Alan and Nicole. The Latah County Human Rights Task Force has been incredibly important for me in my development and my understanding of social justice. And now, a few years later, I wanted to thank you all for helping shape me in that way as I went out and left Moscow onto other parts of the world. It's amazing how much of an impression you can make on young people. So please continue what you're doing at a time where more than ever we need this. We need this to be an important principle in people's lives. So I wanted to just take a moment to thank you for that. You certainly made an impression in my life. And I remember, Joanne, that that march in Hayden Lake. I remember being of middle school age and being frightened as a young Jew in Idaho and writing to Governor Andrus. And these issues are all coming back across our nation today. So thank you for what you're doing, and let's continue marching, in your words, Joanne.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Kyle. I think this has been maybe more memorable and inspiring, or at least as memorable and inspiring as having a speaker, because it's our community that makes what we do meaningful and helps us keep going and keep marching. Okay, we always end our breakfast with "We shall overcome." We usually stand and hold hands while we do it. And I was saying that the second paragraph of the song says, "We'll walk hand in hand someday." It has a meaning in the human rights that we will be together, but also let's hope the pandemic will end and we will hold hands. We'll walk hand in hand soon. I want to thank Paul and Susan Thompson for putting this song together. You can sing along, or you can listen to their beautiful music.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we'll walk hand in hand someday. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we are not afraid today. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday.
Thank you all for coming to our virtual breakfast and for speaking out and joining and making this a true community endeavor. I wish you all well, and I know we're all united in our thoughts, our prayers for nonviolence and for progress and social justice. Go in peace and work for justice. Thank you.